Hey everyone, Tom Meinke here from MLive&apos, joined by Justin Rogers. We're at Ford Field where the Lions have just won 32-17 against the San Francisco 49ers. That noise you hear in the background is actually the University of Minnesota marching band practicing for an upcoming bowl game. Not the usual sights and sounds, but pretty cool nonetheless. 32-17 win for the Lions. Justin, what was your big takeaway from what you saw today?
Stafford, keeping it going. It's another game with a passer rating well over 100. I think it's fifth in 6 games.
It's 1 out of 5, but yeah.
Yeah, his completion percentage continues to be outstanding, not just for the second half, but for the entire year. He's over 66% now. I think he's quieted all doubts, even though the level of competition has dropped. He's quieted all doubts that he is the franchise quarterback going forward, at least for the next season.
Yeah, I was always in that camp anyway. I thought the Lions had too much invested in him. I thought he was too talented. Given the lack of quarterback depth around the league, I just thought they'd be kind of foolish to get rid of him. But he's proving those thoughts, I think, and just how he's played the past few weeks in the second half of the season since the promotion of Bob Cooter. And I asked Stafford after the game today, do you want Bob back next year? He said, it's not my call. A lot's going to happen. It's above my pay grade. But yeah, of course I do, because we have great chemistry, and I think it's very evident that just how comfortable Matthew Stafford is in this offense, and with Bob Cooter. And comfort's not really a word we'd used to describe Matthew Stafford over the past couple of years. Prolific at times, but certainly not comfortable, and he looks very comfortable. He's up to now 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in the second half of the season. That's really remarkable.
Yeah, he really struggled, I thought, the last 2 years of Linehan after the 2011 great season. Obviously, the first year and a half under Lombardi. And I think there's a legitimate reason for concern that if they switch offensive coordinators once again, could there be another setback in his development? But I also don't think that there's anything guaranteeing Bob Cooter a job. The sample size is incredibly small. Lions, they're running the ball a little bit better, but still not quite there. And who knows what the next GM or specifically the next coach is going to have in mind. If Caldwell sticks, obviously Cooter's going to stick. If they go a different coach direction, then who knows? All up there.
Particularly if the new coach is offensive oriented, he's going to have his own ideas and philosophies.
Absolutely.
He's going to change stuff, so Cooter will probably be out. And even if it's a defensive guy, he might have someone he's known from his previous gigs or whatever. He wants in here because he has a comfort level with him, as opposed to a 31-year-old who's had 8 games on the job. As good of a job as he's done. The one wild card I throw out there is Adam Gase. From Chicago, and he has a history with Bob Cooter from their days in Denver together.
Sure.
So who knows what'll happen or what kind of relationship they have or what have you. But there is that possibility that if Gase were the guy, if the Lions did part with Caldwell, that he'd want to reunite with Bob. There'd be some kind of synergy there, and you could see Cooter return. But I honestly believe it's in Stafford's best interest for Cooter to come back to avoid another transitional period. Those have been hard on him. They're hard on any quarterback. And the comfort you're seeing now, I'd hate to see him give that up. But again, that might not be the Lions' call, his call, depending on who the Lions target as their next coach.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, defense started off awful today. I mean, just awful. 49ers hadn't done much of anything. They were averaging a league low 14.4 points, I think, coming into this contest, and they just cut right through the defense in that first drive. Their first quarter touchdown of the entire year. Had well over 200 yards, over 100 yards on the ground in the first half, and it just looked like this was going to be a shootout. Second half, different story. It seems like Terrell Austin figured it out. Defensive line got going. 49ers abandoned the run, and it was a different show.
I think they figured out the 49ers just aren't very good at the football thing.
Yeah.
And it was a total domination from the Lions defense, I thought, in the second half. 3 points the rest of the way after the game was 17-17. Or after they took that 17-14 lead, the Lions did. Only about 3 points the rest of the way. It was an impressive effort. Guy like Ziggy Ansah, gotta like Devin Taylor. Those guys have both played real well. A lot of push, I thought, from the defensive line, and that was without Jason Jones playing most of the game. But you flipped it to the defense. I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't at least talk about Theo Riddick and Calvin Johnson real briefly. There's lots of time we have to hash Calvin Johnson and his future. Of course, it's in doubt. This might have been his last home game and all that stuff. But it was encouraging to see a nice second half there from him, and he had that big third down catch to set up the Lions touchdown that gave him a two touchdown cushion when it was a game. That was encouraging to see. And then, of course, Theo Riddick, just another fabulous day from him. 7 catches, I believe, 60-some yards, 63 yards.
38 missed tackles, approximately.
20 of which came on that one play there toward the end, but on the sideline. But the guy's a magician with the ball in his hand. I went back, when I was doing a previous story on Theo Riddick, I went back and looked at almost every play, not every play, but almost every play where he caught the ball. And it's amazing the consistency at which he makes the first guy miss. Yeah. And that's what you always want out of a playmaker. You can't control if there's 5 guys around you or whatever, but if you can make the first guy miss, you've done your job, and he does it more often than not. That one step and go, Darius Slay calls it the dead leg. It's just an amazing play, and the way he can do that without losing speed, it really is remarkable.
It makes me laugh, going back to even last year where Joik Bell's like, dude's got one move, but he does it really, really well. And turns out, yes, it works really well. I still think Calvin Johnson's will be back next year. And I know it's the topic du jour right now, and I understand why. It's a monster cap hit, but the Lions have a lot of holes to fill. And if you take out a number 1 wide receiver, and he still is a number 1 wide receiver, and yet the contract to production isn't quite a match, but that's another massive hole you're asking your new general manager to fill next season, and I just don't think they're in position to do it. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest reasons he sticks is that, and the other one, another coach is going to want to come in and he's going to want that weapon. You're not going to take on a new coach and say, oh, we're going to get rid of one of your best weapons, one of the greatest weapons of all time. He'll want to see for himself where he's at in this career downside. If it's even a downside, maybe it's a blip on the radar. Who knows?
I do think he's back. I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen either with a restructured contract or a pay cut. I think the Lions at some point will ask him in the band again. I think at some point it's possible the Lions ask him to take a pay cut. I'm not sure if he would take it. He's definitely earned that right, I think, to say no with what he's done throughout his career. But the Lions, you have to remember, in a very good cap situation right now. And so if they were to restructure the deal, I know a lot of fans, they have a heart attack when you talk about restructuring deals now because of the whole Sue saga and everything. But the Lions are in a much better cap position now. The cap's going up over the next couple of years. I think they are in a position to restructure the deal a little bit if that's what it takes to get Calvin back.
You can do a pay cut and a restructure where it locks him in almost to 2 more seasons here, gets him a little bit more guaranteed money, but